So we are here today to discuss the scoop on groups. I am very sorry to report there is no ice cream involved. So what did groups do before in CAD Learning? When we were working in CAD Learning, there was a place under the user account where you could define a group for somebody. And what that group was designed to do was to restrict content access within the library so you could make sure people saw only what you wanted. Share playlists out to a whole group of users at once if you wanted to, and see reporting for one of group of users at a time. Don't worry, they all still do that. That is all still existing. So why did we change things? Customer feedback. That's really the only reason. Based on customer feedback we've been gathering and receiving over the last couple of years, we're able to enhance that group feature to just do a whole lot more, to make it its own little feature. So what changed? There's a new page for adding and managing groups. So a dedicated page where you can go and create your group and name it. Each group can have a unique custom logo set so that you can actually have a different logo at the top of the CAD Learning page for each of your groups. There is a new option to restrict reporting access by group. So if a user is part of a group, they are going to see only other users in that group in the reporting. New option to restrict content creation by group. This means that somebody's only going to see content that is open to all or open to their group. If somebody in another group created something, they won't see that. There is a new security role for learning paths and an option to restrict that by group. So learning paths is actually a brand new role that we've put in for people to manage goals and roles without having to be a full org admin. And we gave the option to restrict that by group as well. So let's take a look at the whole picture. I am going to show you live, but just to get an idea of the functionality first, we're going to go through a couple pictures. Managing groups now has its own dedicated page. So from the organization menu, under organization options, where you probably haven't been too often unless you put messages out, there is a new area for groups. All of the groups you had defined already have been transferred over. You're going to see them all there. This gives you the ability to add as many groups as you want right here, edit the name of any existing groups, and plop in a logo for a URL for any of those groups. You can also delete a group. We'll talk about what that means in just a few minutes. So this replaces the notion of having to go into a user account and define a group in that drop-down list. You can set them all up in advance. You can modify them all in one step by coming back to the screen. And of course, you can delete a group at any time. Now on the user screen, when we go to add users to group, the only thing that's really changed here is that you won't create new groups there. There'll be a drop-down list of predefined groups. So if there's something missing, you'll need to return to that other screen to create it. So you can see here that the group is still defined in the middle of the screen. There is a place at the bottom of the screen for additional groups. One of the first questions you guys are going to have, I'm sure, is can somebody be part of more than one group? And they sure can. You can umbrella those together. And then the security roles that I mentioned. Each of the roles were here previously: reporting, admin, learning path admin is the new one, but content creator was here. We've added a second checkbox for each one where you can choose optionally to restrict to user groups. So if somebody is a global admin and should see everything, leave it exactly as it is. Check just reporting, check just user admin, just content creator. If you want a user to have access to look at reports, create content, and view users in only the groups they're part of, check that second box. That is how you're going to implement it. And it will cover all groups the user has been added to. Okay. Some frequently asked questions. What happens if I delete a group? That group's going to be removed from all of the users, removing any of the restrictions it had in place. No harm, no foul. You can easily take everyone out of a group by just deleting it. Can I add multiple users to a group at once? Now the groups are kind of cool. You're probably going to want to go put people in them. Yes, you can. You can use the import function that we have when you import users to bulk edit any of your users. It'll match that email address and it'll recognize the user already exists and pick up any new changes. So you can take a spreadsheet that you would use to import users, fill it in with those people you want to modify, add the new groups, and import it at once. How do I get that logo URL? I'm going to try to give you an example when we go live in a moment, but essentially you're going to locate the image you want on a web page, any web page, right mouse click to capture the URL for the image, and then paste it into that field in CAD Learning. And last, but certainly not least, where can I send my feedback? Feedback at cadlearning.com is your best bet. That's an email that we've had for years for people to submit feedback and ideas. We do encourage you to submit those. We do track all of that, keep it sorted, and keep track of how many people have asked for how many things. We sometimes follow up and ask for more information. But if you have additional feedback about the functionality or about anything, please feel free to send it there. Okay. Now, next, we're going to take a quick look live at what changed. So I am logged into a dummy demonstration organization, which means these people are all made up. They're not real. We're not sharing anything sensitive. It also means I may have made up some ridiculous names, so don't laugh too hard. And from here, if I click on the organization menu and I come to organization options, this is where I'm going to see the new choice for groups. So these other items were always there. Groups is new. The groups that are listed here are samples that I've created. I have a group for people who are onboarding, who are coming in and going through the onboarding process, Northeast group, Northwest group, the South group, and then I have one for classroom session. If I wanted to capture a URL for any of these groups, the idea would be to go out and find the image. Now I can use this as an example, but you would do this on any website that you have, your internal websites. Right mouse click over the image and do copy image link. Then you're going to drop that right in here and save. So you can put in a different logo for each and every group. That way they have a little bit more personalized experience. Again, adding a group is as simple as creating a group right down here. You just need to give it a name and make sure you save. For users, when we come in here to look at the user setup, I'm going to pick on Amber because I'm already logged in as Amber in another session. I want to show you the difference. Amber is currently a manager who has access to only her groups. So I've checked off those extra buttons there, okay? She has access to the Northeast group, and down here you can see I've added a second group of classroom session. You can put as many groups as you need. It'll just overlap the coverage for all of it, okay? What that means is that when I look at the user list, I'm seeing all the users in the organization, every one of them. When Amber is logged in, let's go find Amber's session. Here she is. Oops. That one. When Amber is logged in and she comes to the user list, she is only going to see users in the two groups we specified. So we gave her two. We said she was part of the Northeast, and we said she was part of the classroom training. So she sees only the people in that group. Can she add a new user? Yes, she can. Can she edit these users? Yes, she can, but only the users in her group. And the same is going to be true if I come over here to reporting. She's going to have access to all of these reports, everything that we give to everyone else. The difference is the results. The results are going to be filtered by only the users that are part of her groups, okay, which happen to have no activity. Let's try a different report. How about employees by group? There we go. So just the two groups that she has access to. Everything else is hidden. If I, as a full admin, come here and run that same report, it's going to look completely different. I get all of the groups. So what this has done is it's created a hierarchy system for you guys to be able to have a manager come in, only see what's appropriate to them, only get access to their custom content and their reports. Okay, a complete hierarchy system that you can manage right through the user screen and the group screen.